All right, I think I'm live. Hey, everybody. So, I've only got a few minutes. This is, since the time changed, this is Arizona, 6 p.m. So, this is the time that live is going to be on from here on out. Ooh, what does this do? Sorry, I'm getting distracted by fancy little buttons. Anyway, I'm busy, so I've got to, cruise here in about 10 minutes because I'm going to a pre-screening of the TV show that History Channel has coming out in a few weeks, Project Blue Book. So I'm going to a screening where I get to see the first 2 episodes, and then after that, we're going to do a Q&A. It's going to be myself, Stacy Wright, who is one of the people who runs Arizona MUFON, Dr. Sky, an astronomer, and Lynn Katai. So, I've got to get running here soon. I'm going to do my best. I'll see if I can live stream that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. It'll be difficult. I tried that before at the Devil's Tower event, and that didn't work out that great. But I do want to go over some new UFO news as soon as I can. Ooh, also, I should say last week I was traveling to AlienCon, which was a lot of fun. Hello to everybody who saw me there at AlienCon. You know what? I really want to try one of these. Ooh, that one looks cool. Ooh, how about that? Let's do Noir. Ooh, this is neat. At AlienCon, there was a ton of people there. It was a lot of fun. In fact, speaking of Project Blue Book, I did a talk on Spielberg, and Close Encounters was inspired, and a consultant was Dr. J. Allen Hynek. In fact, look, Project Blue Book is about Hynek, so I'm wearing my Hynek t-shirt from Ryan Sprague. If you want to get this t-shirt, check out Ryan Sprague. But anyway, after my talk, Paul Hynek came up, Dr. J. Allen Hynek's son, and he said, I was here for your talk, and thank you so much for the great things you said about my father, and I'd like to stay in touch. And I said, I do a podcast. Would you be willing to come on? And he said, certainly. So soon on the podcast, we'll have Paul Hynek, J. Allen Hynek's son. How freaking thrilling is that? Very excited about that. But let's cover some UFO news real quick here for the week. Let's see. First of all, the big news, if you haven't heard it, in Ireland, these pilots who witnessed a UFO. And on OpenMinds.tv, I talk about that I have quite a few links, and I think they're good links. I have the CNN link, which is kind of an overview of the situation. And then I have the War Zone. So you may remember I had Tyler Rogaway on. He writes about defense for the War Zone, this website that's part of this site called The Drive. This is his analysis. And of course, it's a really good analysis with the audio from the pilots, because we have audio from these commercial airliners who saw this thing. And then finally, we have a BBC article that is really good because it analyzes what it could have been and all the different objects. So anyway, these pilots essentially are cruising along. They see a very bright light that is going super fast. They all comment on how incredibly fast this thing is going. One of them estimated it was going Mach 2. Essentially, most of the witnesses say that it moved, like it went boom, it went to the right. And so, cruising super fast and then shooting off, that's not normal. We don't usually see something like that. Now, some people have speculated that perhaps it was a meteorite coming into the atmosphere. Now, a meteorite, when it's coming through the atmosphere, this is my example of a meteorite, can look like it's moving right alongside an airplane if it's moving, coming in at a very slight angle. And some people have talked about maybe it's a bolide. And what happens with that is that a meteor comes at a very slight angle and then bounces off the atmosphere back into space. Those things are possibilities, but an analysis, research is still going on. The IAA, which is kind of the Irish Aviation Authority, say that they're going to investigate it. However, their investigations are confidential, so we may never find out what the results are. Seeing how much media this has gotten, though, they'll probably talk about it at some point. So, very, very interesting case. Definitely go to OpenMinds.tv and read those first 3 articles that I have listed in our UFO headlines to get all of the info, and listen to the audio because it's really, really interesting. Another great article that we have is from Don Dendary. So he is a professor at McGill in Montreal. I guess that's where it is. He's retired. He was a professor of psychology, and he's done other things. But you may have heard him talk. He's talked a couple times out at different UFO conferences. But he's saying, hey, there could be aliens. He's been researching UFOs for decades, and he believes that some of these, do demonstrate extraterrestrial technology. There are a couple mistakes in the article, and you may see my comment at the end of the article where I correct them. For instance, they do talk about how the DoD just recently announced that there was a UFO project. And then sorry, someone made a comment, and I'll try to comment on that when I get a second. But the DOT, Luis Elizondo is how we know about it. He was the former head of this project. They said that the project is now defunct. According to Elizondo, that's not true. The project continues to this day. They also said 2 people resigned because they felt the government wasn't paying enough attention. That is not accurate either. Only 1 person resigned, Elizondo. However, otherwise, and it wasn't Donderi that made these comments, it was the writer of the article, so they made a couple mistakes. Otherwise, Oumuamua is a big deal in the, oh, I gotta sneeze. Someone keeps talking about the Black Knight. I'm sorry, the Black Knight satellite was a blanket that was dropped by astronauts and floats around the planet. There's no, alien satellite that we're aware of floating around the planet. Sorry, look it up. There's just an abundance of evidence to show this. But I was getting at Oumuamua. Oumuamua, you may have seen in the news quite a bit as well, and that was this weird, elongated satellite. In fact, let me show you a picture, so you're not just looking at my face. There it is. There it was. There it is. So what we see here are artist renderings, and it's long, it's weird shaped, and it moved in a very odd fashion. Now, it didn't zip around the sky. It came from interstellar space, which is the first time something has come, kind of from far outside of the galaxy or the solar system, our solar system, come into our solar system, comes around the sun, whips around, and is gone. We don't know where it's going. It's just going out into space. Normally, there are objects that do that, but those are objects that are usually caught by the gravity of the sun, and then they orbit the sun. Not so in this case. This thing is just, we don't know what it is. What's weird, there's a couple weird things about its movement. First of all, there's solar radiation that probably affected, well, no doubt affected the object, the movement of the object. However, scientists, when they calculate these changes, can't determine what this thing is made out of. And they have decided, we don't know what this thing is made out of because the effects that the sun is having on this thing are not normal. It's odd. The other thing that's odd about it is typically, things that come around like comets will have a tail because as they get close to the sun, the ice on the objects melts and then it refreezes as it goes back into space, and the tail are actually all of these ice particles that are trailing behind the object. This one didn't have those ice particles, so that was odd too. And so a Harvard scientist wrote a paper about all the oddness about this that's going to be posted, I think, in the next couple days, tomorrow, and he speculates that perhaps it was a solar sail, perhaps it was some kind of probe from an extraterrestrial civilization. So that's why that's a big deal, and it is a big deal that, scientists are kind of, I'm calling it pulling a Giorgio because I was just at AlienCon with him, but kind of like Giorgio, they're saying, hey, it's got to be aliens, we don't know what it is. They're not saying it's got to be, but that it could be. So, really interesting times that we're living in right now. These are some of the stories. Sorry that it's such a short show, but I'll be back next week to talk more. And with any luck, maybe I'll be able to stream the panel that we'll be having at the History Channel Blue Book screening that I've got to run to right now. Hope you all have a lovely evening, and I will talk with y'all later.